Thank you very much, Carlo, for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from, ladies and gentlemen. My name is ERIK MEIJAARD, and let me just share my screen. Interesting, hold on. I have lost my, there we are. Put that in presentation mode. Can you confirm that this is all okay?
Yes, Eric,
okay,
perfect.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, my name is ERIK MEIJAARD. I've worked for much of the past 30 years in Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia. My background is in wildlife conservation. I've done a lot of work on orangutan conservation. And of course, we all know that there has been a long link between oil palm deforestation and threats to orangutan. So for the past 15 to 20 years, I've been doing a lot of work on the management and understanding of palm oil, but also in the broader context of other oil crops. And I'll be presenting the findings from a review paper that we published earlier this year in the journal Frontiers in Nutrition, titled Dietary Fats, Human Nutrition, and the Environment, and really seeking to understand what does this term that everyone uses, this term sustainability, what does that really mean? It's often used, but the reality on the ground of what sustainability really means remains poorly understood. With regards to oils and fats, it's very clear that as human beings, we need fat. I'm not a nutritionist, but nutritionists generally tell me that between 25 and 30% of our daily energy needs come from oils and fats. Those are needed because some of those are essential to us. Now, it's very obvious that some of us have consumed way too much fat, and therefore there's a major problem in the world of people that are overweight or obese, about nearly 2 billion people. That's a significant portion of total humanity. On the other side of the coin, there's a lot of people, nearly 1 billion, that are undernourished. And the point I'll be making is that supplies of fats to people will remain important and probably become increasingly important going into the future. And this relates to the fact that, of course, human populations are predicted to grow further from a current near 8 billion people to probably more than 10 billion people around 2070. You can see in the graph that there are sort of variations between different predictions, but there will be more people, and more people means a higher demand for fat and oil. And we need to decide how we're going to produce that fat. One way of looking at it is where that fat is needed and what people are generally consuming. So the map on the top left-hand side, it's a very simple map that shows the main source of fat for consumption. You can see, for example, in Russia and Kazakhstan, the light yellow color is it's mostly sunflower oil. In Australia and Canada, it is mostly rapeseed oil. In the United States and Mexico and Brazil and China, it is mostly soybean oil. And then, of course, in the tropics, it's mostly palm oil or groundnut oil, peanut oil. So there's a lot of variation across the world. And it's important to look at where these fats are consumed and what their contribution is to people's daily energy needs. The map on the bottom left and the map on the top right show you areas of undernourishment, basically people that are hungry, and food insecurity, where the more orange colors show the areas of the greatest needs. So in the tropics, and especially Central Africa, the Congo, a great need for additional energy intake, and that spatially coincides with areas of production for peanuts and palm oil. The flip side of the coin is the parts of the world where we consume too much fats, and by and large they're overlapping, very roughly speaking, with some of the temperate zone oils such as rapeseed, soybean, and sunflower. Something to do with where fats are consumed and where they are produced. And an important part of that is that especially undernourished people require affordable diets. If you're on an average income of $1 per day, which is the current cutoff by the World Bank for poverty, it's around $1. It makes a big difference whether you source your energy needs from fats that are cheap. In the graph, it shows they're below 20 cents per day, or from protein-rich foods, dairy, or starch, which are more expensive. So people don't just need food, but they need affordable food as well. And I wouldn't suggest that everyone just eat fats. Of course, we need to get people first through an energy sufficient diet, then a nutrient adequate diet, and ultimately a healthy diet that includes foods from several food groups, and that has a greater diversity within food groups. But that's a long way for nearly 1 billion people. And the production of fats now and in the future are going to contribute to that. So that is the human health aspects of fat consumption. And again, I didn't have the time to dig deeper into health aspects of different types of oil. It is very complicated. Now we're getting to the planetary health of fat production. And I've done that, or I've shown that in maps again, where the map on the top left shows the main production of vegetable oil crops, with maize and soybean being produced in large parts of America, China, rapeseed in Canada and Europe, and then again in the tropics you have coconut oil, peanut oil, and palm oil. And then this is also, so you basically have, if you're looking for fats, you have the choice between vegetable fats and animal fats. Vegetable fats are produced directly by oil crops, like the crops I just mentioned. Animal fats are produced indirectly through crops, for example, by pigs feeding on soy and thereby producing pig fat, or beef, cattle feeding on grass and thereby producing tallow or beef fats. Now, all these production areas of fats are linked to what are called planetary boundaries. These are points where there's great concern if we pass that boundary, we're seriously undermining planetary health. And there's more than these 4 that are shown in these maps here, but they have to do with things like nitrogen flows. There's clearly too much nitrogen being brought through agriculture in the lands of Europe, the United States, India, and China, that are overlapping with some of the temperate oil crops. So we often see the environmental problem of oil production, vegetable oil production, in the light of palm oil expansion in tropical forest area. But I always make the point that palm oil relatively needs low areas to produce the same amount of oil compared to crops like soy and rapeseed that are grown in areas that already have big problems with nitrogen flow, also big problems with biosphere integrity, because large parts of the Americas, Africa, Australia, and Asia have already been converted to agriculture. Therefore, we're losing the natural ecosystems. On the land system change side, so basically where are the changes currently happening, the finger is clearly pointed at the tropics, in the Amazon in South America, in the Congo in Africa, and in islands, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And there is an aspect of freshwater use as well. So we need to kind of look at these oils and different ways of producing oils that can meet the future demand of oils and fats by looking at the production areas and their environmental impacts, keeping in mind that for poor people that are undernourished, it is really important that we supply them with affordable fats and oils. So as a scientist, I always tell you, it's very complex and we need to know more. We're scratching our heads in confusion. But these are essential questions that we need to learn to answer. How are we going to meet the future demand for oils and fats with the best impact, environmental positive impact on our health, and with the lowest environmental impacts in terms of land use and nitrogen flows and so on. So in conclusion, I think this requires more work. As scientists, we always tell you that we need more research, but the research is ongoing. We're mapping the global areas of soybean and rapeseed and sunflower and coconut and oil palm to have a better understanding of relative impacts on environments. We also work with nutritionists to get a better understanding of what this means for our health. And the key message is that win-wins are not always possible. Sometimes you need to sacrifice a little bit to gain something else. And we need that clarity of what that means for consumers, retailers, and people that are making the political decisions. With that, I thank you very much, and I'd be very happy to answer any questions. Thank you.